As the 100th season continues here on Good Morning Football, we get to bring you more incredible stories of the events and the people that shared the NFL over the past 100 years. Shared and shaped, of course. Here's Rich Eisen with another installment of the NFL 100 Minute.
The silver and black, commitment to excellence.
Just win, baby.
The Raiders franchise has been part of some of the most memorable plays in NFL history. The most famous being on the losing end of the Immaculate Reception in 1972, propelling Pittsburgh to its first ever playoff win.
This place has gone completely berserk.
2 years later, Ken Stabler's desperate heave to Clarence Davis into the Sea of Hands ended Miami's dream of a third straight Super Bowl title. Then, in 1977, Dave Casper's ghost to the post catch was key in the Raiders' double overtime playoff win. The next season, after 2 intentional fumbles, Casper recovered the ball in the end zone as time expired to shock the Chargers. The Holy Roller was a rule changer. In 1980, Mike Davis's interception sealed a playoff win on a play forever known as Red Right 88. The Raiders went on to become the first wild-card team to win the Super Bowl.
These Raiders, they are iconic, of course, and they played a part in some of the best moments in NFL history, and they hope to have themselves a little moment on Thursday night. It's a huge game, playoff implications. They're facing off against the Chargers, who have turned things around of late. Both teams on the hunt for a playoff berth. Kyle, we were talking in the commercial break.
Yeah.
You seem to be on the fence about this one.
It's
Want to
tough.
hear the arguments here and then?
Yeah, I really would, because in this take business, you never want to be on the fence.
No.
You get laughed right out of the industry.
Yeah. You're right.
But I like both of these teams a lot, so I would love to hear some
Yeah,
arguments.
let's go.
What do you got,
guys
friends?
What you got, Shregs?
We'll have a cold take or a hot take. Don't have anything in between. And I'll give you a hot take that the biggest transaction maybe for the Chargers all season was moving on from Ken Whisenhunt and elevating Shane Steichen as the new offensive coordinator. He's a guy who played at UNLV, played quarterback in the mid-2000s, has been in the system and ranking. That's a gutsy decision, saying, Ken Whisenhunt, you coached in a Super Bowl. We're going to fire you. We're going to elevate your underling and bring him up here. And guess what? Most yards last week, all season. Most rushing yards last week, all season. Chargers have a little thing going here where a lot of teams are tentative to make a mid-season move. Chargers said, let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's save the season. They also didn't trade away Keenan Allen. They didn't trade away Melvin Gordon.
They said no right away, right?
They said no. They weren't listening to Keenan Allen talk. So to me, the edge is with the Chargers because right now, the feeling I have is that they're looking at their ownership. They're looking at their front office saying no to London, saying no to letting this thing keep going, and saying we're a team that can still win this thing when everyone else on the outside said no. I love the juice right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Chargers, and there's a reason why these guys should be a lot better than what the record is. I know they're coming off a couple of straight wins, but I always say that offense and the defense should have a trio of individuals, and that what makes you a dominant squad. Complementary players, surround those guys, you'll be just fine. But there's 3 reasons why I feel like they can go on an historic run.
Go on.
And offensively, it's because of a duo, and it's actually 2 duos. So on offense, you have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Mike Williams, who hasn't scored a touchdown yet
Hasn't
this
scored
year,
a
waiting for
touchdown.
that big game.
But they got rid of Tyrell Williams. He should step up and be a true number 2. And then Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon. You have 2 individuals in the backfield that can dominate. And then on the other side, the third duo, you have Melvin Ingram and Bosa is an absolute beast. Now, this is all anchored by an individual who's an aging quarterback who we all desperately want to see win a Super Bowl. So when it comes to edging this game, the reason I'm going to edge it to the Chargers is because of those 3 duos.
Yeah.
I can't say that for the Raiders. I can't say that I have as much faith in Derek Carr as I do in Phillip Rivers. I can't say I have as much faith in the pass catchers for the Raiders as I do in the Chargers. And when it comes to making quarterbacks uncomfortable, the Chargers have the edge for me when it comes to the Raiders.
The most impressive of those duos is Melvin Ingram, not Gordon. Gordon looks good, though he has 2 touchdowns now in 100 games. But Kyle, they gave Aaron Rodgers that work. They combined for 3 sacks against him. They could do that to Derek Carr.
I know, and it kind of sticks out that they pounded the Packers and the Packers destroyed the Raiders. But when you're on the fence, you go to the simple thing. You look at Rivers versus Carr. Phil Rivers doesn't really lose to the Raiders. I mean, he's won 4 in a row. He's 18-8. He's 9-4 in Oakland. And there's something about the Chargers, Nuke Kope, whatever, now I begin. When they are terrible, they start to be really good. I want to root for the Raiders because I think it could be a cool thing that they actually made it work this year. I got to go Phil Rivers. He's awesome against the Raiders. Torments them for years. I'm going to go Chargers.
They are a second-half team, and it is so frustrating, Shregs. Since 2017, they're 13-4. in the second half. They basically play lights out. Speaking of what you're saying about how their backs are against the wall, it's all coming together now. Rivers was asked about it, and he was very honest. He said, for whatever reason, we do better when the Chargers don't have a chance. I don't know why. I wish we did better when everybody thought we were good, like they thought we were going to be going into the season. I don't know if anybody gave us a chance today, and the guys did a heck of the job. He wants to be doubted, so maybe we shouldn't have did what we just did here and picked them over the Oakland.
And we're sitting here, and what are they hearing? They're there, and we're going to leave.
Well,
I mean, it's all sorts of nonsense.
And it was all Packers fans. It was all, here's the one thing, though. Short week on the road in front of the black hole when they're in a fervor right now. That's not a
Raiders
good
have
place
been
to
good at
play.
home, too.
It's buzzing in Oakland.
They win, the Chargers go 5-5, and depending what happens around the league and elsewhere, that could pull them within a game of a playoff.
Chargers win, I feel like they're getting in. I know that's nuts, but they just don't let them get hot.
They were 12-4 last year. What
I know.
happened?
I don't know, man.
We'll sell that out in the newsroom
They're
in
good.
Culver City. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on there, Kay? And guys, also keep in mind, Arden Key is hurt for the Raiders, so that affects their pass rush as well. Something to keep an eye on. Then we start with the Battle of Gotham. A knee injury could deprive us of seeing two of the premier running backs square up against each other on Sunday. Head coach Adam Gase telling the Michael Kay Show Le'Veon Bell will not practice today. Bell underwent an MRI on his knee on Monday. He suffered the injury in the loss to the Dolphins on Sunday. If he's not healthy enough to play, Bilal Powell will get the start. Since 2017, Bell and Saquon Barkley rank in the top 5 in scrimmage yards per game. Barkley is 3rd and Bell is 4th. The Jets also signing running back Josh Adams from the practice squad. More from the Jets. Quarterback Sam Darnold has the most interceptions in the NFL since returning from mononucleosis in week 6 with 9. 4 straight games with a pick is the longest active streak in the NFL. Despite all of this, Darnold believes he's seeing the field really well. Insert your ghost jokes here. Meanwhile, Steelers running back James Conner will be limited in practice this week as he deals with a shoulder injury. Head coach Mike Tomlin says he's optimistic Conner will get back on the field this week. It may be a game-time decision, however, for the Week 10 matchup against the Rams. We were definitely geeked to have the NFL's greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, on the show yesterday. He sat at the table, gave me a shout-out, did a special version of Toe Drag Swag with our guy Nate. And one person who took notice of this segment with the guys was Colts wideout Zach Pascal, who got some love from the GOAT for his fancy footwork. Pascal called Rice a legend, deservedly so. Pascal went on to say, quote, just to see him talking about my play, it felt really good. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, guess who's talking about me on TV? But yeah, it felt really good. And I know how you feel, Zach. That's pretty cool for him, just to hear Rice and Nate B talking about him on Toe Drag Swag. That has an impact on a young player.
It's what we do. We make dreams come true.
Yeah, honestly, it's enough of an honor when you talk about these guys every week. For Jerry Rice to be talking about a kid whose story is all over the map and then finally ending up, that's got to be the coolest deal for these kids to see Jerry Rice, the greatest ever, critique their footwork. It's really neat.
Who earlier in their show were like, is it Pascal or is it Pascal? Clearly it's Pascal because Will know.
Pascal.
So now we know his name and the GOAT talked about him.
I think he was talking about Schrager, not Rice. You were talking about him in the middle of the segment. Really, I think that's what he's talking to his mom about.
News of the day. Everybody's talking about Cam Newton, the announcement made by the Panthers yesterday. We heard from Cam.
Cam Newton.
We deciphered what it means and translated it, and we'll let you know what we think and where he could go. And then what can the Panthers do to hoist a Lombardi this year? Yeah, this year. I'm saying it.
Okay.
Jimmy G?
Go ahead. Don't look at me. Say it. What does that say?
Smile in San
That's not what that says.
What's making handsome Jimmy? What is making handsome Jimmy smile in San Francisco?
Everything. I wish
This
it was
is my
me.
job. Who wrote that? Did you get in there?